Good day, fellow collectors and viewers. Social Distance Warrior is back with video number 2, and today we're going to focus on the Biker Scout, aka Scout Trooper, from Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Now, this figure has been around since back in 1983. He made his debut in this fabulous sculpt, 1983 sculpt. Biker Scout keeps that nice look of the Stormtrooper like all the Imperials do, with a nice, skull-looking face. Comes with the blaster. Perfect figure. Obviously drew my attention back as a kid. And if you picked him up, you got to put him on the speeder bike as well. And with that speeder bike, he looks great. I have my original one here to kind of put him together with. It definitely creates that, fascination with the scene on Endor on the Biker Scout, chasing down, Luke and Leia on the speeder bikes. What a great scene. What a great sculpt. Of course, it has the blast effect where you can blow it up as well. I'm not going to do that on the video, but that's the original release back in 1983. Second release that we got, Star Wars went dormant for about 10 years, came back in 1995 with the Power of the Force 2, Biker Scout with speeder bike. Now, speeder bike is exactly the same mold as the original one, except they changed the paint color to make it a little more realistic, a little darker to match the movie instead of that bright, it's almost like a bright gray that they originally did. Came with decals, so you can kind of, put the details on there as well, make yours a little more unique, and came with the Biker Scout, Scout Trooper. Now, the Scout Trooper is pre-posed, so all he can do is sit on this bike. His legs are swivel, which is great, so you can put him on the bike and have him positioned on there properly. But his arms are stuck in that pose to drive, and that's all he does, is drive that speeder bike. So that's the second release. I'm not going to take him out of the box just for that reason. Third release that came after that is the Power of the Jedi one, so circa 2000. So once the Episode 1 line came to end, they decided to make one more uniform line with all the movies together. The 3 original ones plus Episode 1, they called that Power of the Jedi, and that's the Biker Scout that we got. So we finally got a carded release of the Biker Scout for the first time since 1983. And this one, great figure. Thankfully, they didn't pre-pose his arms like the one that came with the bike. But they did kind of put him in a pose where, he's bent out. I have that version as well in the battle damage. So 2 versions were released. This guy with the battle damage and then the original one over here, clean one. They did add something fabulous to this figure. They added the holster with removable gun. You can store it in there. It was a really great feature. The number of figures in the Power of the Jedi line came with that, and it's such a nice addition to it. Made you want to pick these figures up and army build them, so now you can stand them all up and do your own Endor scene. So that's the third release of this figure. Next one that came after that would be the Saga Vintage Original Trilogy Collection one, which was 2006, but it came out at the same time as a AT-AT exclusive that came with the Power of the Jedi mold. And that Power of the Jedi mold, this guy here, but this time with a visor that comes up and down. So a nice added feature of a figure you already had, and you had to pick up an AT-AT to get it. So thankfully I didn't have to get the AT-AT. I was able to pick the figure up through a trade, but nonetheless, a nice addition to it, and definitely, a nice variant to add to an already really cool figure. So that was the next version. Oh, don't die. Stand, please. Okay, there we go. Please comply. Imperial officer. Okay, this may or may not work. We're going to try it. Easy there, fella. There we go. Okay, a little bit of patience. So, like we were saying, the next version was the Saga Vintage Original Trilogy Collection, same year as the one that came with the Endor AT-AT. Except super articulated. Best version to date, most reused sculpt to date. That'll be this guy here. Great figure. Now they've added, bendable knees to this figure. Bendable ankles, the articulated ankles on there as well. So you can position him on his bike. You can bend him at the elbows here as well on both sides. He does have a swivel up here at the top, where you can move his arms, so you can put him in any pose you can think of. And of course, he does have that holster still, so you can put his blaster pistol back in there or in his hand, whatever you choose. But, that was the next version. That's been, the ultimate version, in my opinion, to date of this great figure. And let's try and put that gun in his hand so you can just kind of hold it there. Position him in the back. So next version of that, they did a 30th anniversary commemorative edition. So they re-released the same figure as the Saga Vintage Original Trilogy Collection one, except they added the nice feature that they did on the Endor one, which is the visor coming up. So it has the visor coming up, and it's got the almost identical face sculpt. I think it is identical. If I turn them to the side, this one's got a little more, the head's a little more narrow on there if you look them side by side. But, you know, they went with that Temuera Morrison clone trooper face sculpt. They decided every single, you know, Imperial was a clone trooper, which they've changed to date, but that was kind of the way they decided to go back in 2006. And this one was from the 30th anniversary commemorative, so I think it was the tins. They came with those tin packs. So you had 4 figures in a collective tin, and that's how you got that guy. So next version that came after that was 09 Legacy Collection. That'll be the one that came with the speeder bike. That's this guy here. So an upgrade to the Saga Vintage Original Trilogy Collection version, they've added ball jointed, you know, legs. So you can sit on the speeder bike a lot better in that regard. He still has the holster. He still has, you know, bendable knees, you know, articulated ankles, swivel here, same thing. You know, head comes up a little bit further, so you have a little more orientation for him there. You can still move his arms up and down here. A little more tighter on this guy here, but they do come up and down, and they can bend at the elbow and then, you know, articulated at the wrist here. So an improvement there. Easy way to tell the difference between these two guys on the fly if you were looking to acquire one is the black on the joint right there on the shoulders. Easy way to tell. So if you were to take the original one, put them side by side, you can see the differences on this guy just by that. As well as the little black, you know, insignia on the front here. It's painted where here it's not. He's obviously a little more weathered. He did come in a number of different versions, though, the Saga, the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection version. But if we look at him, you know, top down, if you look at the backpack, you'll notice the older one's got the painted backpack, and the one that came with the speeder bike, they cheaped out a little bit. They didn't paint it. You can see that it's engraved in there, but it's not painted like this guy was here. If I can kind of get that to show you, you know, on the camera there. Yeah. Okay. So, he's also got that black, paint job going through the ankle there as well. So I don't know why they did that. They cut some costs, I guess, somewhere, but it's an easy way to tell. It's a bit of an eyesore when you have him on there if you do try to position his legs back, but, you know, something to live with the articulation of him. The bike for that guy, of course, here he is with his bike. Let's put the figure here. Okay, there's the bike as well. So they redid the speeder bike entirely from the original one. It's a lot more realistic. Mine never came off the bike. I kind of just positioned him on there, have the elastic still holding his leg. I don't intend to take him off. He comes with a nice stand as well, so when you position him, he looks great. And of course, you can tilt his head all the way back so he can, you know, position and ride that bike exactly, you know, the way he was intended to. Let's see if we can position him over here. Yeah, to kind of get an idea. Turn that vintage one around as well so we can see him. So since we're on the topic, the only other Scout Trooper that I do have, and I want to kind of give it some love now, because we had Mandalorian, and Mandalorian's got the bikes, and the bikes that they used in the show, Filoni and Jon Favreau, is the white bike. So as soon as I saw that on the show, I'm like, oh man, I'm so happy I have that white bike, because if I ever want to do a diorama, I can do that with that, you know, the bike. Now the Trooper, this was a battle pack, so it came with 2 bikes and 2 troopers. And they took that same Scout Trooper Vintage Original Trilogy Saga Collection one, and they just did it in a complete white paint job because it's supposed to be on Hoth. Because initially on Hoth, deleted scenes, they were supposed to have speeder bikes flying through there as well. So they did make that. They did make a white one. This one's a little more weathered. They did make a clear white one that came with the AT-AT. So it's been released a couple times. So, you know, and don't fear there. If you aren't able to acquire this one, you can still acquire that one. So I just wanted to give that one some love since we're talking about the Scout Trooper Biker Scout. Let's put him in the frame there too, so he's not blocking everybody. And then the only other one that I have to show you would be the Black Series 6-inch Scout Trooper. This guy over here. Yeah, so this one, 2015, 2016, around that time, came exclusive with the bike. He was the first figure that came with a bike. I don't know if I'll be able to position him back there without knocking everybody over. Looks like I can't, but it's all good. Just so we can get them all in frame and you can see them all together. Let's pick you little buggers up so you can all be in the picture as well. Everybody can say cheese. And there we go. So there's all the Biker Scouts that I have. Most of the releases for them, all the way from 1983 till now. They've come a long way. There's been a lot of designs. You've seen them change and update a lot. Definitely a figure that's, you know, stands the test of time and be a welcome addition if they've decided to re-release them for sure. That's something that I'd like to purchase as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, that's video number 2. If you like this video, you want to see more, please like and subscribe, and we go from there. Have a great day. Take care.